Hello and welcome back to another video tutorial here at Geekatplay Studios. My name is Gary Miller. The project I want to set out and make today is a realistic, in fact a very realistic StarField. So I'm going to start off by creating a cube sphere, and I'll set it back there. Hide my ground plane. I think I'll rotate my camera up towards the sky a little bit so I can see the stars that we're going to create. And let's give this a texture. In view 7 now I have this red-brown rock, which I'm very partial to. And come over here to my atmosphere, and under the Others tab I'm going to choose Outer Space. I'm going to select OK. And let's render this to screen 600 by 800, and let's see what it gives us. Well, the planet material looks cool. I like that, but the star field, it's not very realistic. It's just a bunch of white dots, and there's not much variation. So let's come over here to the Effects tab in our atmosphere editor, and I'm going to lower the number of stars. I'm going to lower their brightness. I don't want colored stars. Select OK. Let's try rendering that again. Well, by adjusting the brightness, all it did was make the stars smaller, but it appears that the luminous value of all the stars are about the same. There's very little depth to this. Oh, there are a few small little stars that you can see. A little one here, a couple over here. There's a few small ones, but you know, all these big ones appear to have the same level of illumination. It's not very realistic. And Vue just doesn't have, at least not right now, a great ability to create realistic stars and create a realistic star field. So I'm going to have to do this in Photoshop. Here in Photoshop I created this spinning galaxy image, and actually this is going to work really well because it gives me all this black area here to play with and create a star field on. Now, if you're not into sci-fi images, that is fine. Don't tune out, because this technique works absolutely perfect for regular nighttime skies here on Earth. You know, you can make a great nighttime sky above a tree line with some buildings in a city, with or without clouds, whatever you want. This doesn't have to be applied only to, you know, sci-fi images. So don't tune out. I think you'll find a lot of use for this. So I want to create a realistic star field. First thing I want to do is create a new layer. I'm going to come up here to Edit, and I want to fill this with 50% gray. Now, if you're not using Photoshop and you don't have, you know, fill with 50% gray, here's the number value. I'll select that gray. Here's the number value for 50% gray. In the RGB settings, it's 128. You can get away with 127, 128, just as long as you put your color picker here right in between complete white and complete black. So I've got it filled with 50% gray. I'm going to come up here to Filter and come down here to Noise. I'm going to add some noise to this. I want Gaussian distribution, monochromatic color, and for this I want the amount set all the way to 400. Click OK. Come back up to Filter. I'm going to come here to Blur, and I want to choose Gaussian Blur. Before I do that, let me show you the size of my image. I always render in, if I'm doing a 3 by 4 render, or 3 by 4 image size, I always render at 2500 and 600 dpi. The reason why I like that is because that higher degree of resolution and that larger image size gives me a lot greater control and ability when I do post work. So I'm going to come down here to come up to Filter, come down to Blur and Gaussian Blur, and I know for my image size with the resolution it is, I want a small radius of 1.5. I'm going to select OK. Now what I want to do is come up here to Edit, Image, adjustments and levels. Now watch my star field as I start bringing up my shadow slider and cutting out my star field. The star field starts dropping away, and I can be very precise in choosing exactly the look that I'm after. Now this is really more stars than I want. I want this sort of look, much fewer stars, but I'm going to go with creating more stars. I can always undo later. Now if I use the brightness slider, watch, I can increase their brightness, but I'm going to leave it right where it is. I'm going to include more stars in my star field here than I really want, because we're going to remove some of them. Now look at the small size of these stars. The detail that you can get by working in a higher resolution in a larger size image is much greater than, say, if this were a rendered image of 1024 by 768. All right, I'm going to select my star field. I'm going to come down here and add a layer mask to that. Now with my layer mask selected, I want to make sure I'm working with my default black and white colors. I'm going to come up here to filter and come down here to render, and I'm going to apply a cloud render, a cloud render to that. And look at the difference. Let me click off and click on, and you see that I have wherever the black was in my render, because I'm working on a layer mask, it thins out a lot of those stars. I'm going to set my blending mode to lighten, and let me zoom in here a little bit more, and let me shut off my, this was before and this is with the layer mask. There seems to be a much more random distribution of stars by creating that layer mask and running a clouds filter on it. Now I don't want any stars here in front of my planet, or I might, but in this instance I don't. So I'm going to grab my eraser tool, and I'm just going to erase the ones where I don't want it. Now if this were a nighttime sky with, say, clouds on it, I would want to use my eraser and delete and erase the ones that were over my clouds, but you definitely want a soft brush so that you don't have those just so that there's a smoother blend between where the stars are and where they are not. So this is a much better approach to creating a realistic star field than what I think we're able to do in View. And let's say this is the look that I want, but I want to increase the brightness. Well, I can still, on my rendered clouds layer, come back up to adjustments, and I can look at the difference. I can bring back some of my stars and increase their brightness. I still have control. Or if I don't want that many, I can reduce the visibility of lots of them and then bump back up the brightness of some of them. So I've got a lot more control and a higher degree of flexibility by creating my star field here in Photoshop than by settling for kind of the default star field that you can create in View. So that's creating a realistic star field and nighttime sky right here in View. So I hope you can use this for all your wonderful View renders. So thanks for watching here at Geekatplay Studios. My name's Gary Miller. Have a good day.